Let's unpack this. Because to even begin to grasp Dr. Gamble's Tier Zero architecture, we have to look at the two radically different ways we can view the
The
universe.
two paradigms.
Exactly. Dr. Gamble frames this as two distinct tracks of reality based on his blueprints, Track B and Track A. I want to start with Track B because that is the one you, me, and everyone else listening is intimately familiar with. It is the water we swim in.
Right. Track B is what Dr. Gamble defines as the sanitized record. This is the mainstream conventional scientific narrative that we are all taught from the moment we enter our first science class.
The default setting.
Yes, the default.
Yeah.
In the Track B paradigm, the universe is essentially a massive cosmic accident. It posits that everything began with a chaotic, violent, completely random explosion.
The Big Bang, but framed as just a catastrophic detonation of matter in a dead, empty void.
Precisely. And in this Track B view, the universe is expanding outward into a cold, entropic vacuum. It is a universe defined entirely by decay.
Things break down.
Constantly. Iron rusts, mountains erode, stars burn through their fuel and die out, and life. Life is framed as a highly improbable biological fluke.
A total accident.
It's seen as a random collision of amino acids in a primordial soup that somehow, against all astronomical odds, mutated over billions of years and led to you sitting here listening to this deep dive.
I have to be honest, when you really sit with that Track B mindset and let it settle in, is incredibly bleak.
Is deeply pessimistic at its core.
Yeah. It creates this underlying psychological framework where you are nothing more than an accidental meat machine. You are this temporary, highly vulnerable organism subject to the blind, merciless chance of a dead, unthinking universe.
And that takes a toll.
A huge toll. I mean, think about the sheer exhaustion of just maintaining a human body in an entropic reality. You have to sleep 8 hours a day just to recharge. You have to eat 3 meals a day to fuel the machine. You have to go to the gym to fight off physical decay.
You are constantly battling the environment.
Yes, if you ever feel a deep sense of insignificance or isolation or just plain burnout, it is heavily fueled by this Track B narrative. It's an operating system that constantly reminds you that you are a tiny, fragile speck of dust in an uncaring void.
It separates meaning from existence. In Track B, meaning is just a psychological coping mechanism invented by the meat machine to deal with the cold reality of the entropic vacuum.
Because the universe itself doesn't care if you exist or not.
Right. It is an incredibly isolating paradigm to operate within, and yet it is the dominant operating system for modern human consciousness. We build our entire societies, our economies, our medical systems around this assumption of inevitable decay and scarcity.
Which is exactly why Dr. Gamble's work is so revolutionary. He enthusiastically pivots us entirely away from that bleakness and introduces us to Track A.
The alternative.
The original architecture. This is Tier Zero. This is the universe before the decay, before the randomness, before the heavy burden of gravity.
What's fascinating here is that Track A isn't a physical place you can point a telescope at.
You can't just look harder into space to find it.
No, you can't find it by looking further out into the cosmos or building a more powerful lens. Track A is a state of being. It is the pre-density and pre-gravity state. Dr. Gamble defines this original architecture as a state of perfect coherence.
Perfect coherence. I want you to just let those words wash over you for a second. Imagine a state of existence where nothing is in conflict, where there is zero friction, zero decay, and absolutely zero chaos.
It is entirely harmonious.
It is a state of pure, frictionless information. The contrast between the chaotic, accidental explosion of Track B and the intentional, elegant, perfectly harmonious design of Track A is just staggering. But I want to push back on this for a second.
Please do.
Because even when I try to picture perfect coherence, my brain almost short circuits. We are so used to the struggle, to the heaviness of things. Why is it so difficult for us to even imagine a universe without entropy?
That is a very natural response. It is difficult because you are trying to process a frictionless reality using a biological brain that evolved specifically to survive in a highly frictional environment.
Ah, that makes sense.
Think about it. Your current biological framework is designed to detect threats, to manage scarce resources, and to deal with the constant downward pull of gravity. Your nervous system is basically a sophisticated threat detection machine.
Always scanning for danger.
Always. So when Dr. Gamble asks us to conceptualize the Track A blueprints, he is essentially asking us to use our minds to step entirely outside of our biological conditioning. We have to tap into a deeper, older memory.
A memory from before the biology.
Exactly. A memory of when we weren't just reacting to a hostile, dead universe, but when we were an integral, intentional part of a perfectly coherent living information system.
That makes a lot of sense.